All right, let's talk about turning lead into gold, but for your Salesforce code. You know, taking that slow, clunky stuff and making it lightning fast and super efficient. That's what we're diving into today with Apex Alchemy. It's all about supercharging your code and honestly, your whole career.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a question that I know every single Salesforce developer has heard. Why is it taking so long to save this record? Sound familiar? Or how about that feeling of dread when you see a big data load coming and you just know a timeout error is waiting to ruin your day? It's a universal pain, for sure, and almost every single time it points back to one specific thing.
And yeah, that one thing is what I like to call the governor limit nightmare. You know, these are the strict rules of the road that Salesforce puts in place to make sure nobody's code goes rogue and hogs all the server resources. It's a shared neighborhood after all.
Now look, these limits are kind of necessary, right? In Salesforce's multi-tenant world, they have to exist. But man, they are the #1 source of our headaches as developers. When you see errors like too many SOQL queries, or you blow past the CPU time, or you exceed the heap size, that's the platform basically screaming at you, hey, your code doesn't scale.
So where does this problem usually come from? Let's get right to it and pinpoint the actual culprit. Because most of the time, it boils down to one very specific, and I mean very common, coding mistake.
And here it is, the classic villain of our story, the infamous SOQL query hiding inside a for loop. I mean, this is the ultimate bottleneck. It looks so innocent, right? So simple. But this one little pattern is practically guaranteed to blow up in your face the second it meets a real-world data load.
The magic number here, the one that turns this code from functional to failed, is 101. See, this code works just fine for, 5 records, 10 records, no problem. But the second a user tries to save 101 opportunities at once, boom, it crashes. Why? Because you only get 100 SOQL queries in a transaction, and this code hits that wall instantly.
Okay, so how do we fix this disaster? Well, the answer isn't some secret Apex trick. It's actually a fundamental concept from computer science, data structures and algorithms, or DSA for short. Now, don't let that name scare you off. This isn't about dry, complex theory. Think of it as the practical blueprint, the secret recipe for writing incredibly efficient code.
So let's break this down. What even is a data structure? It's really just a special way of organizing your data. Seriously, that's it. Think about it like this. You could have a giant, messy pile of papers on your floor, or you could have a perfectly organized filing cabinet. Which one lets you find what you need instantly? The filing cabinet, of course, and that's exactly what the right data structure does for your code.
And this is the best part, where the theory gets real. These aren't some abstract ideas you'll never use. In the world of Apex, a hash map is just a map. A set is, you guessed it, a set. These are the tools you're already using every single day. The game changer is really understanding their secret superpowers, like instant lookups and uniqueness checks.
All right, enough theory, let's get our hands dirty. We're gonna take that broken code from before and completely transform it using these principles. This is the process we call bulkification, and it's absolutely essential for any serious Apex developer.
But before we rewrite the code, we need a quick way to talk about performance, and that's where something called Big O notation comes in. Think of it like a report card for your code's efficiency. Our villain code gets an F. It's something we call O of n squared, or quadratic. That just means that as your data grows, the time it takes to run explodes. What we want is an A, which is O of n, or linear. Double the data, it just takes double the time. Totally predictable, totally scalable.
So, let's look at our villain one more time. Remember this? A query for every single record. This is that classic quadratic trap we were just talking about. And here is the beautiful transformation. It's a simple, repeatable 3-step recipe. Step 1, we loop through everything once just to grab all the account IDs and stick them in a set for uniqueness. Step 2, we do one single SOQL query outside the loop and put all the results into a map. And step 3, we loop through our opportunities again, but this time, instead of running a query, we do a lightning-fast lookup from our map. Just like that, we've gone from code that dies at 101 records to code that can handle thousands, no problem. It's beautiful. Now this skill, it's not just about fixing governor limits and making your users happy. No. Understanding this stuff is what separates a regular developer from a senior developer from a technical architect. And you better believe it's what they're looking for in a tough technical interview. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Check out this quote from a developer named Scott Von Schilling about his interview at Amazon.
He was struggling with a problem because the obvious answer was a nested loop, which is exactly what they don't want to see. The big tech companies, your Amazons, your Googles, they test for these fundamentals all the time, even for Salesforce roles, because it proves you know how to think about scale.
So here's the bottom line. Look, mastering maps and sets, that's going to solve like 90% of your day-to-day performance problems. It's huge. But getting a handle on these other topics, that's what takes you from being a solid coder to being a true Apex architect, someone who can design solutions for massive enterprise-scale challenges.
Okay, let's bring this all home. I want to give you an actionable plan, a roadmap you can use to start leveling up your code literally today.
It's a really simple 4-step plan. First, master the map. Make it your go-to, your best friend for any kind of lookup. See a loop? Think map. Second, use sets for uniqueness. Stop looping through lists just to see if something's already in there. Third, train your brain to spot those inefficient patterns. The second you see a loop inside another loop, a little red flag should go up. And finally, number 4, you gotta practice. Get your reps in. There are awesome free platforms out there like apexsandbox.io that have these kinds of challenges built specifically for Apex.
You see, when you move beyond just making the code work and start focusing on making the code perform, you're not just avoiding errors, you're leveling up. You're becoming a better developer, a better architect. So I'll leave you with a final thought to take with you. After everything we've talked about today, what's that one piece of code you know is lurking in your org that you're gonna go and fix first?